The first time I heard the bells at Koningshoeven, they sounded less like a call and more like a hush spreading through the low Dutch light. This corner of North Brabant has a way of softening the edges of a day. Canal water going slate gray at dusk, fields turn to pages you can read from the tram window. The monastery sits there as it has since the 19th century, sturdy and practical, an anchor in a country that knows how to live below sea level without drama. Long before beer geeks were trading scores, Cistercian Trappists here brewed to keep the abbey afloat. And somewhere in that rhythm of ora et labora, of prayer and work, a golden idea took root. They called it Trappe Blond, and over time it became the kind of beer that does not announce itself. It simply stays, as dependable as the bell. You can trace its story through the quiet revolutions of brewing life. When monks at Brewerij de Koningshoeven began, beer was nourishment and currency, a way to bind community while honoring a rule that labor could be prayer in another language. They weathered war and scarcity, the tug and pull of modernization, even the scrutiny of what it means to claim the Trappist name. Through all of it, Trappe Blond remained in production, an everyday bright note in a choir of heavier hymns. At first glance, a chalice of blonde looks like a captured sunbeam, pale gold with a haze that says living yeast still has say. The head rises thick and white, clinging like frost to a window. You raise it and the clues start talking. Soft pear and yellow apple, a hint of clove that is more whisper than sermon, a honeyed malt tone that promises sweetness but does not overpromise. Only then, once the senses are aligned, do the details make themselves known like a late arrival slipping into a pew. There it is, the style written in its poise. A blonde ale, not a triples grand aria, not a doubles burnished poem, but a clear voice pitched for long conversation. The brewhouse math is as modest as it is intentional. The alcohol stays at a measured 6.5%, a choice that says this beer wants to sit at the table with you, not take it over. Bitterness measures at IBU 20, just enough to tidy the edges and keep the sweetness from becoming self-important. The house yeast of Koningshoeven does the real talking, turning simple pale malts and a restrained hop bill into something that tastes like calm thought, like a well-lit room. Let it roll across the palate, and the structure reveals itself slowly. Fine, lively bubbles from bottle conditioning lift the fruit and spice without scraping the tongue. Malt hums and soft grain notes, a toast point that never darkens. Hops flicker in herbal and floral hints, and somewhere, if you are patient, a memory of orange peel drifts by. There is balance in the finish, a dry handshake that invites the next sip. Trappe Blond does not chase novelty, it chases clarity, and in that it finds character. Koningshoefen's brewery lives within the orbit of the monastery, as the Trappist rules require. Monks guide and oversee, and the revenue tends monastery life and charity before any earthly excess. Over the years, the brewhouse learned to speak both tradition and modernity. Water is managed with care, flows cleaned and reused. Stainless steel and quiet automation handle the heavy lifting, so people can focus on the heart of the process, the pitch of the yeast, the rest in the tank, the re-fermentation in the bottle. It is a Dutch solution to a timeless problem: how to remain faithful and also present. How to make a beer the world can buy today without losing the silence that gave it shape. If you hunt for Trappe Blond, you rarely have to hunt far. Among Trappist beers, it is one of the more accessible, a steady presence on shelves where its cousins are sometimes myth more than beverage. That availability is not a compromise. It is a statement that a monastic beer can be for everyday life. It opens the door for the curious, a way in that does not demand a pilgrimage. Set it against its kin, and the differences sharpen. Vestmalet Triple comes in like cathedral light, stronger, spicier, with a love of structure and a stricter dryness. Chimay Blue is a winter coat of dark fruit and caramel, a contemplative weight suited for night. Orval is the iconoclast, high-spirited and blessed by Breton Malices, forever changing in the bottle, a beer you measure in time as much as flavor. Rochefort speaks in stone and cellar air, rich and dense. Tre Fontane in Rome offers eucalyptus in its triple, a surprising breeze through an old cloister. Vest-Valerin, wrapped in scarcity and stories, reminds us how desire can halo a bottle. La Trappe Blonde, by contrast, is the daily prayer. It chooses approachability over austerity, luminosity over shadow, a careful hop perfume over boom and echo. You can taste the different philosophies in the glass. Some Trappist breweries hold tight to a sense of cloister that leaks into the beer as sternness or mystery. Koningshoven lets daylight in. The Dutch pragmatism translates as elegance without pretense, a willingness to make a beer that meets you where you are. The production is careful, supervised, and deliberate, but the goal is not to intimidate, it is to accompany. In a world where beer can be performance, La Trappe Blonde is presence. When you set the empty chalice down, what remains is not a marketing line, but a feeling of being well met. A blonde ale at 6.5% and IBU 20 should not be unforgettable on paper. Yet it has a way of nesting in memory, of framing conversations in warm light. It threads the lineage of Trappist brewing through modern habits, and it does so with a humility that feels almost radical now. So consider this your nudge. Start with La Trappe Blonde from Brouwerij de Koningshoven, and let it teach you the vocabulary of balance. Then step into the deeper aisles of the Trappist world, where each monastery plays a different chord in the same old song. Compare, question, taste again. In time, you may find that the real subject is not strength or scarcity, but how a beer can carry a place, a rhythm, a way of seeing. And somewhere, in that understanding, you will hear the bells again, steady in the Dutch air, keeping time for a golden beer that knows how to keep you coming.
Até a próxima cerveja.